Okay.
Luxury limousine for all occasions. Please call 313-582-8970. LuxuryLimousineDearborn.com.
Do I need these or not?
You don't have to. مستمعينا الكرام، جمعة مباركة عليكم من راديو أمريكانا 102.3 FM. معكم حسين هاشم على الهواء مباشرة اليوم بحلقة جديدة من برنامجنا Young Leading the Way. بأول برنامج بنحب نتشكر السبونسرز تبع أمريكانا راديو اللي هن ميدوست ريسايكلينج، لكجري هوم فرنتشر، ميريديان لا جروب، NJ دايموند، لكجري لومازين، وأخبار الساعة الوحدة برعاية فيرست ستارت كوليجن. برنامجنا رح يتضمن أكثر من فقرة اليوم، رح نكون مقسوم على قسمين. بأول قسم من الحلقة رح يكون معنا المرشح لمقعد على المجلس التربوي في مدينة ديربورن بلال أو بيلي أيمن، وبالقسم الثاني من الحلقة رح يكون معنا زاك حيدار وجولي مالونسكي من إيستوود كلينيك. رح نحكي هيدي الحلقة رح تكون القسم الثاني متابعة على الحلقة اللي عملناها عن المخدرات، والشابين طلعوا معنا ربيع وحسن وحكوا عن تجربتهم بهيدا الموضوع على الادمان. زاك وجولي رح يحكوا عن برنامج مجاني بيعالج المدمنين عن المخدرات، وبس يخلصوا من البرنامج ان شاء الله بيشفوا من هذا الموضوع. رح نسلط الضوء على هذا الموضوع القسم الثاني من الحلقة. بالبداية بحب بس اتمنى عيد ميلاد سعيد لمرتي زينب، ورح نهديها غنية ان شاء الله ل 30 سكند، ونرجع لكم حدا غير نبلش بحلقتنا. اللي بلش يا وليد.
هلا حاطلع دعاية ونشوفكم من لما حتيجي تبعية المخدرات بدي احط هذا البرومو تبع اول كنز.
لا بلاش، لانه بده ياخذ لي شديقة، اتليست ما معنا وقت.
ما بدك تحطها هيك؟ هي لازم تنزل بالشو.
لا ما في وقت.
لما يبقى عندي دعاية اثنين بس دعايتين.
تمام.
خلاص.
بيرفكت.
مكتب ميريديان لو جروب للمحاماة وبإدارة المحامي المعروف طارق بيضون يضم أمهر المحامين المتخصصين بقضايا الحوادث، الإصابات الشخصية والقضايا العائلية، وأيضا القضايا التجارية والعقارية.
هدي لك كلام.
ربح قضايا عديدة وخاصة المتعلقة
Sometimes I may not be looking at you, so I can look at the comments. But if you have talking, you can just keep talking.
العنوان 19855 Drive Suite 104 West في مدينة ديربورن. رقم الهاتف 313-288-8529 313-288-8529. النزاهة والعدالة والتفوق هدف ميريديان لو جروب. والآن أخبار الجالية.
مستمعينا بنعود لكم بحلقتنا اليوم من برنامج Young Leading the Way. معي حسين هاشم على الهواء من أسير راديو أمريكانا 102.3 FM. مثل ما قلنا لكم قبل الدعاية رح يكون عنا بالقسم الأول من الحلقة المرشح للمقعد المجلس التربوي في مدينة ديربورن بيلي أيمن. رح نحكي بالإنجليزي بس رح نترجم بالعربي قد ما فينا، وحيلا واحد عنده سؤالات بالقسم الأول من الحلقة ما رح ناخد اتصالات، بس بالقسم الثاني من الحلقة اللي حيلا واحد عنده سؤال في يتصل فينا من ديترويت على 313-769-6666 ومن وينزر كندا على 519-256-1023. Billy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Billy, you know, we have 15 minutes. We promised every candidate that's running for school board, we have them on 15 minutes, no breaks. And the rules are very clear. The candidates don't know the questions. It's not a paid interview, so we try to be as much honest as possible with the questions and the feedback from the candidate. Billy, just can you give us a bit of background about yourself, so our listeners and viewers can know who's Billy Amen?
Well, my name is Billy Amin. I am the Director of Operations for Hype Athletics. I'm a founding board member, so I've been part of the organization for 18 years. I'm born and raised in Dearborn. I grew up in the community. I've been involved in the community for over 20 years, from youth groups with mosques to interfaith groups to substance abuse counseling through SAFE, and then also doing the work that I've done through Hype. I've worked with over 200,000 families and kids. So I've been out in the community, out and about. I've been working, I worked in Dearborn Public Schools for about a few years. I also run programs for Dearborn Public Schools, athletic education programs. I've been busy nonstop.
That's awesome. Billy, why did you decide to run for school board?
You know, I decided to run for school board because I felt it was time for new faces, new ideas, new change. It actually started when sitting down with a group of my friends. One of my very good friends, Mo Kassam, who works with TCD, was telling me that all the work that I do in the community, maybe it's time that I start going forward and working with school board. And we would go to meetings and sit down and listen to some of the things that were going on with the kids. And then from my work that I do with HYPE, listening to the parents and their concerns and their comments, I figured maybe it's time for a new face. Maybe it's time for new ideas. Maybe it's time to start moving forward and bringing a different view, or try to bring different ideas that we try to do through my work at HYPE that would probably benefit the school board.
You know, you keep saying different ideas and new blood and stuff. What kind of new ideas are you talking about?
You know, when I look at the school board, what we have now, the board is doing a great job. But there are some things that we need to bring up. For example, safety and security of the kids. I believe that protocols are in order right now, but I believe that we still need to be focusing on different ideas. Like protocols should always be updated every year.
Very
like
good.
I've always said before, the kids should be, they should be protected like they're in a bank.
Awesome.
We shouldn't make them feel like they're in a prison. Also technology. Big thing is technology. Many of our books are outdated for the kids. We need to start focusing more on online programs. Maybe updating our books, bringing a different view to the students so they enjoy being in school, not so they're dreading going to school. Then you have the dual enrollment programs. It needs to be easier for the kids to transition. Whereas now some kids that are in the dual enrollment programs can't take the classes that they're looking at that are going to their specific field. They're having to take classes that they're basically giving a list of. So if a child is looking to be a cardiac surgeon, for example, wants to go into somewhere surgery, they have to pick from these list of classes that they have. They should be able to focus on their career.
Okay. What do you think is like what do you think are now the challenges that are faced by Dearborn Public Schools?
Well, some of the challenges that we face, we have a low college readiness. According to the state, it's at a 22%.
Okay.
So that means 1 in 4 kids are ready to go to college. For us, that's low. We have a 95% graduation rate, which is amazing.
Okay.
But our kids need to be ready to move on to college. We also need to be focusing on, some of our students might not want to go to college. So we might want to look into an instructional program as far as the auto shop, the welding shops, the wood shops. Some of these kids are going in, we could push them into a different direction if need be. That's part of the focus that we need to be, worrying about, is our kids need to be ready for school. We don't want to send them off to college and have them starting off in remedial courses. They should be going into college ready to go, ready to jump right into.
How can you achieve that?
There's ways of achieving it. Like we said, we need a stronger curriculum.
Okay.
We do have the duck curriculum right now. We brought in a new math curriculum this year.
Okay.
We need to be focusing on more of a curriculum. When we go with our curriculum, we need to be looking at something that's going to challenge our students.
Okay.
We don't want to go with the basics. I know that the state, mandates certain classes that the students have to take, and we understand that, but there are different curriculums that we can look into.
Okay.
They might cost some money, but we need to focus on our students, because like we always say, students first, so we need to focus on their education.
Since you brought in the subject of money, how would you make sure, you're delivering the quality of education that you want, but at the same time, you're still physically responsible?
So when it comes to, for example, part of my work is budgeting.
Okay.
You always have to look over budgets. Now, I understand that curriculums cost money. You always need to focus on, what's best, like I said, for the kids at the end of the day. When it comes to worrying about the education and the spending of the money, we should be balancing it out. Teachers, when we bring in a new curriculum, have to go through a PD. Majority of our teachers that I've spoken to, when they sit in a PD, they're not really learning anything. And by the time they learn...
Just so we can explain, PD is professional development. Just for whoever doesn't know.
So when they go through their professional developments, by the time that they're actually learning the curriculum that they're supposed to be teaching the kids, we're changing it on them again.
Okay.
So we're bringing in something new. So now they're starting all over again.
Where is the problem? Why we're not having proper training, or whatever the case might be?
So like you have different programs. Like let's start with the elementary school. You have some teachers who are teaching one way and some teachers who are teaching another way. You see kids coming out of some classrooms ready to go. You see some kids coming out of classrooms not ready for the next level. We just started the new program with the Young Fives program.
Okay.
Amazing program for the kids. It should be getting these kids, it's those kids who are missing that birthday, who are coming into school, or basically, for example, one is my nephew, has a birthday on the 28th. So by the time he jumped into school, he was basically, they look at it as a year behind.
Okay.
So the Young Fives program is getting them ready for kindergarten. So some of these kids are getting ready. When you look at some schools, they're walking into kindergarten already knowing, you know, their colors, already knowing their numbers, already knowing how to read, or already knowing how to write. Whereas some kids are walking into kindergarten and they're not.
Okay.
We need to focus. The curriculum needs to be the same.
Okay.
I don't. To me personally, we have a lot of young teachers teaching who are bringing in these new ideas. Let them bring in their new ideas. Let them come with this new program or this new way of teaching. Whereas we have some teachers who don't want to adjust to this new way of teaching. It's the new ways that are helping the kids. Okay, because the new ways are keeping the children engaged.
Very good. But Billy, we know that as of next year, students in the third grade who show they're not ready in terms of reading level, the state is going to hold them back. How do you think our district should basically act upon this law?
So what happens with that new law that's coming in, we also have to remember that in our district, 48% of our students don't speak the English language. Our ELL students.
This is why I'm asking you.
So
because
that is something that they need to adjust to. So like, for example, when we have low test scorings within our schools, we're not factoring in the fact that 48% of those kids aren't ready for those tests.
Okay.
We are dealing with a lot of kids. 70% of our students are not even close to the line of being able to support themselves.
Sure.
So now with the free lunch program, that helps out as well. But we have to focus on the 48% of those students. So those students need to receive a testing that's different than our children who are ready to go.
How can we achieve that? I mean, that's a state law. How can you basically lobby the state to do it?
That's something that the board's going to have to step up and do and lobby with the state.
Okay.
That's part of the board's job, is lobbying with the state, going to the state and saying, hey, we need this help. We need this special help.
Okay. That's very good. Talking about refugees and stuff, don't you think, having all of these refugees coming, especially to Dearborn, due to the large population of Arab Americans, that's going to present a challenge to the capacity of our schools? And if so, how can you basically solve that issue?
So the influx of the refugees coming into the school system has already happened.
Okay.
It's been happening since, I want to say, 15, 20 years now.
Okay.
We need to work on our ELL program for the English language.
Okay.
Is an amazing program. Students are coming into it and they're learning and they're moving forward. We need to focus more on, if that's what we need to shift towards, it's a shift that we need to start taking. We need to set up certain classrooms for them. Maybe get more teachers certified in these programs, because a lot of teachers, they offer them the chance to go back to school and get the ELL certification. My sister did it. We need to focus on those teachers. We need to basically bring them in, bring them closer, and set up certain classrooms and certain protocols for those students.
So as you mentioned, Billy, in the beginning, you have almost a full-time job with Hype. How would you, and I know it's the position with Dearborn Public School is a very demanding position. Having, being a school board member, sometimes those meetings goes for 3-4 hours, sometimes 5 hours. How are you going to be able to balance between having a full-time job and giving your full attention to that position?
So my full-time job is during the day. So
Okay.
a lot of the people on the board have full-time jobs. My job my day every day starts at 4:30 in the morning. I get up every day. I start by going to my workout, go to work, do my work, then I coach football after, and then, I go on with my day. When you're on the school board, everybody that's on school board has a full-time job. Okay. Going to events, being in the community.
Yep.
That's typically my job.
Yep.
That's my everyday. So when people told me how am I going to run for school board and go to events and show my face, that's my day. I'm already at events every day. I'm already showing my face. I'm already in the community. That's part of my day-to-day life.
Okay.
That's been part of my day-to-day life since I was 14 years old.
Okay.
So it's basically it works into my life. It's part of my life.
Prior to running to school board, how involved were you with Dearborn Public Schools?
Prior to running for school board, I've always been involved in public schools. Like I said, we run a vocational training program for kids with special needs.
Okay.
I worked in Dearborn Public Schools. We run programs for Dearborn Public Schools after school, basketball, volleyball. We do conditioning. I used to train a lot of the athletes in Dearborn Public Schools. So I've always been involved.
Very good. Very good. Billy, some of the challenges faced by public schools in general is having charter schools. We're not talking whether charter schools are good or bad, but I mean, as a person that's trying to sit on the board of one of the public schools, how do you see having all of those charter schools basically challenging you guys for the money? I mean, you're almost in competition with charter schools to get the budget and the money for the students you have. How can you face that challenge?
So I mean, it's basically like we talked about earlier. When it comes to the schools,
Tell them we can't take it now.
You have to basically bring something to the table. You have to make it presentable to these parents who are moving into the community. For example, we have a 95% graduation rate. We celebrate that. But we also want to start celebrating, not only do we have a 95% graduation rate, hey, look at our college readiness rate. Those are some ways of bringing it up. Look at our athletic programs. Look at our after-school programs. Look at our school clubs. Look what we can offer your student or offer your child as a next step. So here, we have Fortson High School. Look how many of our students are getting scholarships to major universities. Here's Dearborn High. Here's Etzel Ford. Here are our middle schools. Look what we're achieving. STEM is now a blue ribbon. Becker is a blue ribbon. We need to start focusing on those to show these parents or people that are coming into our community who are moving into Dearborn School District, this is what we have to offer your children.
Okay. Billy, my last question to you before I give you your final words. Having all of those standardized testing throughout the year, how can we encourage the creativity for students? Despite all of those standardized testing that are going on, how do you leave some room or create something that will spark this creativity in our students?
So we spoke about it actually at the ASU forum.
Okay.
They brought up the arts. To me, the arts is a great thing. That sparks creativity among students.
Okay.
It teaches a lot as well. So you have the arts, you have sports. When you want to talk about sparking creativity when it comes to the arts, you have our artists. You have people who are in choir. You have people who are in the band. When I was at Fortson, we really didn't have a band.
Oh, wow.
There was a few people.
Okay.
When we would go to Dearborn High games, Dearborn High has always had an amazing band.
Okay.
Always had an amazing band. Traveling all over the U.S., they've even gone overseas. Those right there, that's what sparks creativity among students.
Very good.
You see the art classes, they're thriving. Kids who, when we were in school, they used to have a bookmarker contest where kids would, for months, we'd work on a bookmarker, drawing this bookmarker to try to get it out there and have people, they choose your bookmarker so it goes to the Centennial Library so everybody can hand it out.
Very good.
That's what keeps kids engaged. That's what keeps them, moving forward and even researching the arts.
Okay. Your final words, Billy, before we finish our part with you.
So like I said, I'm running for Dearborn School Board come November 6th. I hope to get your support. I've been involved in the community. I've told people before I might not be a parent, but I've serviced this community for over 18 years through my organization. I might not have children in the school district now, but I've had what I call my kids come through the school system over the last 18 years. And hopefully come November 6th, I can get your support.
How can reach to you? How if somebody has a question to Billy Amin, how they can find you?
They can go onto my website, billyamin.com.
Okay.
Or they can email me at info@billyamin.com.
Very good, Billy. Anna, I want to thank you for being with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Best of luck for you on your run.
Thank you, sir.
You're a brother, and I love everything that you do. That's outside of the 15 minutes, huh? Thanks a lot, Billy. احنا كان معنا القسم الاول من الحلقه بلال ايمن او بيلي ايمن. هو بلال بيشتغل مع مؤسسه هايب. هو one of the مؤسسين لمؤسسه هايب. صار له معهم تقريبا قديش بيلي 19 سنه تقريبا شي 19 سنه هن مبلشين. بيقوم بالعديد من البرامج بمدارس ديربورن هن كانوا يشتغلوا معهم. هو هلا نازل ليترشح على المجلس مقعد بالمجلس التربوي بمدينه ديربورن. حكى كتير بلي عن الايدياز والافكار اللي هو عنده اياها ليحسن المستوى التعليمي بمدينه ديربورن، لحتى يحسن البادجت تبعنا، يحسن البرامج اللي احنا عم نعملهم، ويحسن كمان الاستعداد تبع طلابنا اللي رح يكونوا هن مرتاحين لما يروحوا على الجامعه. كتير من الافكار حكى عنها بلال. اذا انتم عندكم حيلا سؤال لبلال هو موجود على السوشيال ميديا من خلال فيكم بيلي ايمن فور ديربورن سكول بورد او info@billyaymanibelieve.com. نحن بنتشكروا لانه كان معنا. هلا بالقسم الثاني رح يكون معنا زاك حيدر وجولي and we're gonna talk about drugs, substance abuse وبرنامج مجاني لحتى لمعالجة المدمنين من هيدي الآفة. فبريك كتير قصير وبنعود لكم. يلا كويكلي
صاحبها السيد إيب هاشم وخبرة أكثر من 35 سنة في إعادة تدوير الملابس والأحذية المستعملة غير مرغوب فيها كوسيلة للحفاظ على جمالية البيئة. ميدوست ريسايكلينج منحت العديد من التبرعات لمؤسسات خيرية فاقت $500,000 على مدى السنوات الماضية. العنوان 26051 ميشيغان افنيو في مدينة إنكستر. ميدوست ريسايكلينج توفر خدمة بيك اب لجميع الملابس والأحذية المستعملة وأدوات مطبخ فوق 100 باوند من خلال الاتصال على الرقم 313-254-9106 مع ميدوست ريسايكلينج، البيئة أكثر جمالية. مجوهرات انجي دايموندز لصاحبها ابن الجالية وخبير المجوهرات السيد زهير عبد الحق، خبرة أكثر من 20 عاما وجي اي اي جراديويت جيمولوجيست، تشكيلة كبيرة وجديدة من الذهب والمجوهرات عيار 18 21 كرات وأيضا الألماس. انجي دايموندز بمدينة ديربورن، العنوان 5601 شيفر رود، رقم التليفون 313-582-7888. لا تكتمل الأناقة في سيدتي إلا مع مجوهرات انجي دايموندز.
مستمعينا الكرام، بنعود لكم بحلقتنا اليوم من برنامج Young Leading the Way. بس بنحب نضوي انه البرنامج عنوانه هو Young Leading the Way، بس ما بيعني انه نحن بس بنستضيف اشخاص صغار. بالعكس كمان نحن المواضيع اللي بنطرحها هي مواضيع بتتعلق بالطبقة الشابة الموجودة عندنا بالجالية. ف it's Young Leading the Way, not just we have guests who are 30 or under, but also we can talk about topics that relates to our younger generation. So today in our second part بالقسم الثاني من الحلقة راح يكون معنا كوماندر رامز حيدر، هو من الوين كاونتي شيريف ريزيرف، وراح يكون معنا جودي مالونسكي. Malinowski. I want to welcome both of you to the show and thank you for accepting our invitation to be here on the show. If you know or not, Julie, we had about 2 weeks ago we had 2 guests. They were drug addicts, and we brought them to the show to talk about their experience with drugs. So we wanted to do like a follow-up and present solutions to people when it comes to drugs. So I really want to thank you for being here on the show. If you can just give us like a bit like a background for us and our listeners about who you are and what you do.
As he said, my name is Judith Malinowski. I am a clinical supervisor for Ascension Eastwood Behavioral Health at our Novi location. I have a 30-year background in mental health as well as substance abuse treatment. I've done everything from develop programs to provide treatment for not only individuals that have depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress, and trauma, but also individuals that have a multitude of addictions or dependencies.
Okay, very good. Zack, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Hussein, and welcome Judy to our neighborhood. And we've been waiting for this show so we can talk about the programs that her clinic and what she represents can provide to our kids.
Perfect.
And, as you know, we have a major issue, and now we are not just talking right now. We're gonna give
100%.
actual help.
Actually أنا بدي أتشكرك زاك لأنه سهلت هذا الموضوع. أنت اللي تواصلت مع. We're gonna be talking both English and Arabic, but we're gonna be mainly talking English. When we talk Arabic, we're gonna be just translating for people so they can understand, since we have listeners who speak Arabic mainly. So بدي أتشكر زاك لأنه هو اللي قام بالتواصل مع جولي واشتغلنا نحن وياه لحتى نحاول نلاقي شيء يكون بيساعد أولادنا هون اللي هن مدمنين على المخدرات. حيلا واحد عنده سؤال من ديربورن في يتواصل معنا على الأرقام التليفونات اللي هن من ديترويت 313-769-6666 ومن وينزر كندا على 519-256-1023. واللي عم بيحضرنا على الفيسبوك هود الأرقام موجودين من الشاشة من تحت، فيكم تشوفوهم كمان وتتواصلوا معنا. So talking about, we've had Chief Haddad about 2-3 weeks ago, and he was talking about crime in general, and what grabbed my attention is all of the numbers that he was presenting were coming down, decreasing, except the number of cases related to drugs that were actually going up. Why, from your personal experience, do you think we have a drug epidemic that's growing and growing now?
Well, we look at that oftentimes. Okay. And when we're looking at, if we're specifically talking about the opiate epidemic, which I think most of us are focusing on, is that there has been an influx of synthetic narcotics for numerous years that has just exploded. Whether it's exploded because individuals have been prescribed these medications by their physicians and then become physically dependent upon them, which means basically when they try to stop taking these medications, they go through withdrawal.
Okay.
That is the most difficult thing for individuals when they become dependent. With that, then we've had also changes in our laws. So now we have laws that are saying physicians are only allowed to prescribe so much, or they're only prescribed to, for a certain length of time.
Okay.
Well, after somebody has become physically dependent on them, and then they're no longer able to get them from their physician, or many times multiple physicians, because things have changed, they're now going to the streets. We have a serious issue with not only heroin, but now we have heroin and fentanyl. And when we're starting to look at how these medications or how these drugs affect the brain, how they affect the body, when we're talking fentanyl, that's why we're also seeing such a high level of overdose deaths.
Okay.
And it's getting individuals' attention, whether it's law enforcement or the medical society.
Okay. Zack, from your experience working with our community here, what have you seen the challenge about dealing with that kind of epidemic, the drug epidemic?
Well, first of all, if you don't mind, let me talk in Arabic for 1 minute.
يلا قول الله.
جودي المستمعين يعني عم يتسمعوا.
أكيد.
أنا حكيت بهالموضوع هيدا من فترة إنه نفتح بمنطقتنا هون، نفتح هون حكيت من عندك من
مزبوط من الراديو لما جيت معنا أول
نفتح
مرة.
مركز لإيستوود كلينيك and their يعني فاسيلتي بديربورن أو بمنطقتنا قريب عن وين كاوني.
تمام.
وصار في اعتراض من هيريفورد وأوكوود وعملوا شغلة كبيرة وهيدي منطقتنا. This is our territory. You know, I was working with Nassim so we can open one. وما قبلوا. اوكي. هلا هيدي شغلة ما بدي فوت بالسياسة. بس هيدي كانت وحدة من الشغلات اللي طرحتها أنا مع أنها it's helping يعني شيء لنا يساعد أولادنا بالجيل ورفضوا. وتواصلت مع البلدية ومع المسؤولين بالبلدية من دون ما نحكي هلا بالأسماء وقالوا don't worry let's see what we can do ما صار شيء. So أنا عم بحكي بشكل بالعربي وبشكل واضح. اللي عنده حدا عم يتعاطى أو عنده mental issues أو بيتعاطى بأي شيء هلا نحن فينا نساعده، فينا نأمنه محل يقعد فيه 30 يوم. Hello, we're going to talk about insurance and
exactly.
Which is very important. So بس المشكلة يا أخي حسين إنه الناس عم بتخبي. الأهل عم بيخبوا واللي عم بيموت ما عم يجي قبل ما يموت يقول يا ناس بليز ساعدوني.
بس
يعني هو
لحتى
بالنهاية السك
اكيد بس لحتى نوضح انه في هطلة يعني انت لما عم تتعامل مع فيزيشنز ومع عالم بالميديكال بروفيشن ما حدا رح يطلع ويقول ويحطك على السوشيال ميديا ويحطك على الاعلان انه والله هيدا ولد ابنه بيتعاطى ولا بنته بتتعاطى ولا شيء. بالعكس نحن بدنا اياكم تتصلوا حتى اذا بدكم تتصلوا تحت الهواء الارقام اللي اعطيناكم اياها مش ضروري تطلعوا على الهواء. اذا عندكم حيلا مشكله مع ابنكم او بنتكم عم يتعاطوا او عندهم منتل ايشيو فيكم تتواصلوا معنا ونحن ان شاء الله بنعطي ارقام تليفوناتكم للكلينيك لحتى نعطيكم كل المعلومات لحتى تساعدوا اولادكم لانه شغله بسيطه بتقدر انه to save somebody's life انه احلى ما يروحوا يعملوا to commit suicide.
هلا تفضل بس if you don't mind. We do a great job by lecturing and talking about prevention.
100%.
This session today is about people who are already addicted and they need help.
Yes.
So we need them to come forward, talk to me personally. I will take them myself. I said it before, and I'm not joking about it. I will take them to their clinic. We'll create a case for them. We're going to talk about the process in a second.
Yes, please.
So I guess let's talk to Judy and have her explain to us what is the process for someone who has insurance, who does not have insurance, or who has a court order to stay inpatient for 30 days, right? Or maybe just an outpatient. So if you don't mind, let's talk about that.
Well, in most cases, if someone does have insurance, any commercial or even any of the HMO Medicaids, which many individuals have, they can call our clinic. I brought one of our brochures that has all of our numbers if you want to post it. They call our clinic, say, I'm ready to come in.
What's the phone number?
They're all different phone numbers.
Phone numbers.
For every,
Is there a main one? I mean,
no, we don't have a main number. We have 10 outpatient clinics, and we also have a residential treatment
Okay,
center.
okay.
So, like, I can get you all of that
Sure.
information. They call our clinic, we set up an appointment, and they meet with a professional who does an assessment. If at that time we determine that they need a higher level of care, whether or not they need a detox program or whether they need residential or inpatient, we will make that referral. If they do not have insurance, they would be sent to our residential treatment center, which is for those individuals that don't have insurance. If not, we often send them to our Brighton Center for Recovery.
Okay.
They have phenomenal programs. We work very closely with them. They have intensive outpatient, they have outpatient program, individual, group, early recovery, as well as what Eastwood has. We have intensive
But
outpatient.
they have
early
to meet
recovery.
with you first.
Absolutely.
You do the you analyze
the
that
assessment.
patient and
Mhm.
see how much that patient help needs, and then you refer them whether it's going to be a residential or not.
Absolutely.
And what's the residential period? 30 days?
It can be up to 30 days, and then they would be referred to aftercare.
No, the aftercare would be at St. John Hospital or somewhere else?
It could be at Eastwood, it could be at other, depending on what fits the criteria. We're open, we have numerous relationships with other clinics and other treatment centers so that we focus on what's best for the client.
Okay, great.
Zack, can you translate since you're asking the questions?
جودي عم تحكي جودي عم بتقول انه عندهم 11 مركز صحي بالمنطقه.
اوكي.
هلا اذا اي انسان بحاجه لمساعده بيتواصل معنا، ما قدرت اعطتنا تليفون واحد انه هي عندها 11 لوكيشن.
مظبوط.
انا اذا بدكم احكوا معي او مع حسين ونحن ويل هوك يو اب مع هير اوفيس. هلا بتروحوا على المكتب تبعهم، هن بيعملوا اول شيء بيقعد المريض مع شخص من عندهم هن وبيعمل دراسه خلال نص ساعه او ساعه عنه قد ايه الانسان هيدا بحاجه لعنايه.
تمام.
اذا ما معه انشورنس بياخذوه على واحد من المراكز اللي هن عندهم اياها اللي هي طبعا بلاش،
اوكي.
او بياخذوه على برايتن اللي هن بيتعاقدوا معها كمان ببلاش.
تمام.
وفينه يخلوا للشخص شيء 30 يوم يتعالج وينضف من المخدرات اللي هو عم ياخذها.
اوكي.
وبعد ما يخلص 30 يوم بيبعتوه على مركز اوت بيشنت.
اوكي.
ممكن يكون لهم او ممكن يكون لاي مستشفى ثاني هن بيتعاقدوا معه.
تمام.
وهذا طبعا عم نحكي نحن ببلاش، يعني انه طبعا is funded by government or by agencies or whatever. بس الانسان اللي ما عنده انشورنس ما معه مصاري ما في داعي انه يموت ببيته وما حدا يسال عنه.
مظبوط.
وما بقى حدا يقول انه ما قادرين حدا يساعدنا، وما بقى حدا يقول بهالجيل ما حدا عم بيساعد حدا. كل نحن كنا موجودين هون نساعد بعض. وانت موجود وعم تحكي بالفكره على الراديو يوميا. Last week you had a beautiful show, you know, but we need to continue doing that. We can't stop.
100%. You know, Judy's from your experience with that field. How much success have you guys had with those cases?
You know, it's very difficult to quantify success. Okay. But part of it is that each exposure to treatment, the person has that much more increased opportunity.
Okay.
And we have, you know, there's a great deal of talk within the substance abuse field of medically assisted treatment. How often does a client need to be seen? Those are all, we're starting to really expand our scope of understanding not only dependency, but also what the patient needs.
Okay.
So what's most important for any long-term recovery is for that person to be part of a community.
Okay.
So when you come together as a community and say, we're not going to look at you like there's something morally or there's something wrong with your character, you've gotten yourself into a situation that you're not going to be able to get out of without help. We're here to help you.
Yes.
It has to be inclusive. It has to be a sense of compassion. If we're not meeting people with compassion, we're not going to criminalize this drug issue that we have.
100%.
We have to do it with treatment, with strong compassion.
So what Hussein and I are doing, just to make sure we're not marketing Eastwood.
No.
Remember that.
No, not at all.
Of course. So what Eastwood, and personally, we had a relationship for a long time. trying to work something out in the city. Of course, we will be reaching out to other facilities or other companies, but they were very nice enough that they sent Judy. She's, the spokesperson of the company, I guess. So how many facilities do you guys have, and where are they located? Are they in, you don't have nothing in Wayne County, right?
We do. We have a facility in Livonia.
Okay.
We have 10 outpatient clinics from Warren to Shelby to Clinton Township, Detroit. We
Okay.
also have a Detroit location at our St. John's Hospital on Ross. We have Novi, Royal Oak. I'm just trying to think of all of them. Southfield. We have numerous locations, 10 in all. We have our residential treatment, but we also have our sister company, which is Brighton.
Okay. Have you guys reached out to the, Arab American community in general to basically try to locate those cases and try to work with somebody in the community to help them?
No, we haven't, and that would be a wonderful opportunity to be able to do that.
Okay, very
To be able
good.
to expand that service.
Okay, awesome. I think Hassan Abdullah from SAFE is listening to us, and we have Billy. Billy is part of SAFE too. SAFE is an organization that actually working with, their main focus is substance abuse, and especially drugs. And they did amazing training with Dearborn police to train officers on how to use narcotics and that stuff.
And Narcan.
Exactly. So I think it will be a very good opportunity to connect them
Sure.
with SAFE and see how we can build a coalition, a bigger coalition, so we can tackle this on a bigger scale in our community. So we'll follow up on this. Hassan, if you're listening, Habibi, please call, or I'll call you after the show so we can set up this thing.
So, but what
Please.
I think we need
Go ahead.
personally is a number or a center or somewhere where
Yes.
somebody he doesn't want to be known, if he would like or she would like to call in for help.
100%.
And with making sure everything is confidential. I think some of the kids are afraid or embarrassed maybe to talk to somebody.
Okay.
But I don't know how we're going to work that one out.
But Zack, why
know what I'm
do you
saying?
think there is still embarrassment in our community to go out and say, I am addicted?
Well, I mean, when you lose almost 20, 25 people, these are the ones I know about.
Okay.
I didn't even know that person, for example, was taking anything, or that person, or that person.
Okay.
So somebody is hiding it. See, when you're sick, you need to ask for help.
Tamam.
I can't come in and take you and grab you and arrest you and force my help on you. You need to ask for help.
Okay.
So parents, if they don't want to face their kids, they can call a specialist or somebody. We will help them.
Okay.
We will find that kid, and we will talk to that person in any way we can, privately, so we can convince them, listen, there is help. Come with me, and I will help you.
Very good.
SAFE is doing a great job. Maybe together, we
مظبوط.
will have a centralized phone number or an office or something that people will come in, walk in maybe, and then they can get help.
Very good. Dr. Mohassoun, he works in that field, and he wrote a book about addiction. He just released it. He's saying that the Brighton Center for Recovery is a great facility and it's highly recommended. And he says hi for you, Judy, and for Zack. Majid Ayub is saying SAFE has been doing an amazing job bringing out the issue, for sure. Mustafa Haidar is saying good job, Zack.
And that's my son.
Thank you for everyone that's watching on Facebook. If anybody has a question, if you are watching us on Facebook, you can put it in the comment box and we'll answer your question, whether it's in Arabic or English. Anybody that's listening to us on Americana Radio 102.3 FM, you can call us from Detroit on 313-258 769-6666, and from Windsor, Canada on 519-256-1023. We spoke about drug addiction, but another topic that both of you guys brought up, and we're going to be talking about it more in an upcoming show, it's mental illness and mental health. That's a topic that I don't think it's touched on our community a lot on it, and it's affecting a lot of people. How can you basically say this person has a mental illness or has a mental issue? How can basically they screen that?
We have numerous screening tools. But with mental illness or any type of depression, anxiety,
Okay.
there's always some level of internal distress. someone is experiencing, negative thinking, sadness, a sense of hopelessness or helplessness. They have worry. They know that they're not sleeping, they're not eating, they're not able to function. And then it starts to impact their daily life. They're not able to work. They're not able to engage with their family. They're not able to do some of the things that they enjoy doing.
Okay.
And so oftentimes we lack the insight to see how we are, but other people in our world can point things out to us. And I think that's, again, where community, where family comes in. When you have a strong community, it comes down to we need to be there for each other.
Very good.
But it's not going to happen until we destigmatize it.
100%.
Until we say that this is occurring.
That's a very important
regardless.
point, by the way.
so إذا أنت عندك عائلة، نحكي شوي بالعربي، إذا عندك عائلة، نحن العرب بنحب السوشيال لايف. فلما انت عندك شخص بهالعائله حسيته تصرفاته صارت غريبه، صار بعيد عن العائله، صار بيغلق على حاله الباب وما بيحكي مع حدا، يعني الحياه الاجتماعيه تغيرت، ومثلا ما بياكل، ما بيظهر، ما بيتعاطى مع حدا. فهون هيدي علامات انه هذا الانسان يمكن عنده mental issues او عنده some I don't know.
ليش بعدنا على حد هلا بالمجتمع تبعنا خصوصا عند العرب بس واحد يقولوا انه عنده منتل illness بنقول عنه اخوت. شو هالعقليه هذا؟ كيف فينا نغير هالعقليه؟
هو نحن ما عندنا كثير mental issues، نحن مبسوطين، نحن happy people.
ايه اكثر بشوي.
بس انه حرام، يعني بدل ما نيجي نساعده مثلا نفتح لنا قلبه للشخص ونقول يا اخي تعال شوف قصتك، انت لا قاعد لوحدك، لا مثلا صرت عمرك كذا وبعدك هلا ما تجوزت وما تظهر من البيت وما تتعاطى مع حدا وما عندك سوشيال لايف، خلص بيكون تعود على نظام معين. هيدا break the ice. I don't know man, it's gonna be very hard. هلا يمكن المنتال ايشو اوكي بتقتل الشخص، بتوصلك لسوسايدال one day.
مظبوط.
بس يمكن مش as dangerous as drugs maybe. I don't know. I mean
it
could be as dangerous as drugs. بس العلامات تبعها يعني أقل واضحة من اللي بياخد مخدرات. يعني بياخد مخدرات he become violent. يعني إنه if he cannot get what he wants he's gonna go rob somebody. So he can get money, so he can get drugs. يمكن المنتل person عنده depression نقول يمكن ما بيأذي، ما بعرف. أنا not يعني expert، بس إنه يمكن ما بيأذي حدا، بس يمكن بحق حاله بيكون عم يجرح حاله. I don't know if someone has a mental issue. He normally hurt himself.
Oftentimes, there are incidences where someone may, act out and hurt someone else. Oftentimes, it is the self-destructive behaviors that they do, the suicide or just the self-destructive things that we do as individuals.
Okay.
But as I said earlier, it really does come down to education, destigmatizing these things, and to understand that there are no boundaries when it comes to either addiction or mental health issues.
Okay.
If you're a human being, you have experienced, whether or not you've experienced stresses in your life,
100%.
You have genetic predispositions, you have things that impact you every single day.
Yes.
And if you're not handling them, they'll eventually handle you.
Okay.
And that's what starts to
saying
happen.
before I forgot, when we had an issue, I had an issue opening or trying to open one of your facility in Dearborn, and I was told that we can't because of Hereford or Oakwood or whatever. Let me ask you this: is it still hard, or is it easy to open another facility close to our city? It doesn't have to be in the city. It could be like maybe Dearborn Heights, maybe Detroit, maybe Melvindale. I don't know.
I think it's worth exploring.
Yeah.
I know at one time there were zones, areas where
Yes, exactly.
there's different.
There's zoning for medical.
Absolutely,
yes.
and they looked at what was the need in the area, and then certain hospitals and certain medical facilities were able to meet the needs in that area. Eastwood needs much more on the east side than here in Dearborn.
Okay.
But there's nothing stopping anyone from
We
pulling together as a community.
We have to.
We'd look into it. Okay,
Yes.
I have to take a couple comments from Facebook. We have a question from a person on Facebook. He's saying if there is a person that has a problem and he or she usually takes morphine, is that may cause, I think she's saying, any problems with them in terms of getting them to be addicted to that substance?
Morphine is an opiate.
Okay.
So when we look at any of the opiates, whether they are the natural or the synthetic,
Okay.
there is a high probability of physical dependence. And
Okay.
physical dependence is you need the drug in order to avoid withdrawal.
Okay.
If they're taking it the way that it's prescribed because they have chronic pain, that's something that they need to work out with their physician.
Okay, sure.
But there are, there's a high level of abusability to these drugs.
Okay, we have a phone call. مين معنا على الهواء؟ تفضل.
معك زيد.
ايه اهلا وسهلا زيد، تفضل شو سؤالك حبيبي؟
حبيبي سؤالي أنا عندي خيي he was addicted to pills.
Okay.
وهلا he's onto Suboxone.
Okay.
Which is a film strip
Yes.
that they use for them to stop using the pills. But he's addicted to that. So is there any can he go to rehab for this?
Judy, go
Suboxone
ahead.
is medically assisted treatment. They need to be working with a physician to slowly come down off of the Suboxone, where they start to not withdraw from it, but start to medically manage so that they eventually come off of that. Oftentimes they can work on an outpatient level with a physician in order to do that. They may not need to go inpatient or to
General
go
physician?
into...
Just family doctor?
No, it has to be a physician that is actually certified and trained to prescribe and manage Suboxone.
اوكي زيد، انا عندنا اكشلي رقم واحد شاب عربي بيشتغل بهذا الموضوع، وهو he is certified to do that stuff. اعطينا رقمك للمخرجي تحت الهواء، وانا راح اعطيك الرقم تبعه، وهو في يساعدك بهذا الموضوع. We have somebody that actually works with you guys. His name is Dr. Hussein. He is certified to deal with such situations.
Absolutely.
Very good.
So we're gonna give him his number so he can basically help his brother.
Absolutely.
Very good. Okay, we have another question I believe on Facebook. Let me just try to get it.
Hussein, if you don't
Go
mind,
ahead. تفضل Zack.
From the moment a patient come to you and you sit with him or her or whatever, and you try to analyze the situation till he goes to let's say inpatient, how long does it take?
We can get evaluations, individuals in within 24 to 48 hours.
Okay.
So what's great about that is that when someone hits that point in time in their life where they really think, I need to get in, I need to talk to somebody, we have the facilities in order to make that happen.
Okay, I have another question since we have only about 3 minutes left in the show, and I'm sorry about the timing, but what's the best approach to take, or the first sentence to ask a person who might have a mental issue, as to not push them away from you, or rather, they will hopefully give in the help they need. So I believe, how can you basically deal with someone that has a mental issue without offending them, basically?
That's a very delicate situation.
Okay.
Many times people are more open to hearing information from a third party, whether it's an article, whether it's a podcast, whether it's something like this, than it is for somebody that's very close to them than to give their opinion.
Okay.
And I think that's what's really important. You can give your opinion, and oftentimes people would be very resistant. But you can come to them in a loving way and say, I'm concerned about you. I'm seeing certain things. I don't know if you're able to see them as well, whether or not I'm seeing a personality change, whether I'm seeing that you seem really overwhelmed. Here's an article for you, or here's a number. You might just want to talk to somebody. It's all about just offering.
No, you can ask a question. I took some training.
Yes.
You can ask
quickly, 15 seconds.
Yeah, you can ask a question. Say, hey, you want to kill yourself? You thinking to kill yourself? You can ask that question. Now remember, any mental issue, any violence, call 911. If someone say, I'm going to kill myself, don't wait. You got to call 911. That's the law. You have to call 911.
إذا بس نترجم بالعربي اللي عم نسأل، في حدا سأل على الفيسبوك إنه إذا حدا عنده مشكلة mental health شو هن كيف تتعاطى معه، وعم بيقولوا له إنه إذا بيقول لك أنا بدي أقتل حالي، أول شيء دق لل 911 لحتى to make sure ما فيش مشاكل عم بتصير، وتاني شيء make sure إنه تعطيه المساعدة ليحكي مع حدا مختص بهذا الموضوع لحتى يساعده. زيد دق كمان وقال إنه خيو عم يتعاطى بشغلات شو هن اللي فيهن كيف يتعامل معه، فكمان نحن رح نتواصل مع زيد ونعطيه رقم تليفون جوديث. And أكيد we're gonna do a follow up to this show because we didn't have enough time for it. Hopefully not next week, the week after, we're gonna do a follow up with both Judy and Zack and Dr. Hussein. Inshallah, we're gonna have him on the show. I want to really thank everyone. I'm gonna have to close. This is Hussein Hashim from Americana Radio. Thank you everyone for listening. Bye.
على 313.
We're gonna do a follow up
Okay,
on the
I
show
have
in
a
2 weeks.
question.
You told me
1,
15
3.
minutes. You took half an hour from our
The show is the beginning. There's 5 minutes like ads. and stuff.
أهلين أخي أبو رمزي،
People are going
لك
to
والله
the
بدي هيك
hospital
حنين
or
للشام
or
وللحار ونفس
something
أرجيلة
like what you were
بالقهوة.
talking about, or like
بسيطة عمي،
taking
لا
pills
تحملها
to kill
زيادة.
themselves.
شكلك ما سمعت عن ودي
They
مشى.
are referring
شو هي
them
سيدنا؟
to
ودي
oil, or
مشى.
there's a
جاني بطعم
facility there.
داماس.